Well, hello there, morons. Welcome back to another Japanese for Morons lesson. This is the lesson for October 4th. It is a Wednesday. And 4 days in a row now. Now, I'd like to start off the lesson with not an apology, because I told you yesterday. I did make a lesson yesterday, and it was sabotaged by children. So what I'd like to do today is start this lesson with a review of yesterday's lesson in a more calm fashion with no distractions, except for my hade na boshi. Hadena is a way to say flashy. Okay, there's a little bonus for you. Anyway, this is a quick review. Okay, so number one, nani is blah blah blah. Wa doko ni arimasu ka? So when you want to know when something is, you just put that in that little space there. And we have, for example, keitai wa doko ni arimasu ka? Where is the keitai? Megane wa doko ni arimasu ka? Where are the glasses? Megane wa doko ni arimasu ka? Toire, of course, more for those of you who are beginners, you really need the basic stuff like toire wa doko ni arimasu ka? Toire is toilet. Eki wa doko ni arimasu ka? Okay. There we go. Number two, doshitai desu ka? What do you want to do? Doshitai desu ka? What do you want to do? Kangaesasete. And if you'd like to, you can say Kangaesasete kudasai. Kudasai, please let me think about it. Kangaesasete is let me think about it. Kangaeru is to think. Kangaesasete, let me think. Number four, big focus today, Gochisou sama deshita, thanks for the food. Gochisou sama deshita. If you want to break it up to make it a little bit easier to read. Gochisou sama deshita. A good way to repeat these long expressions for those of you who are new are go backwards. Begin this way and say, shita, ita, shita, deshita, adeshita, madeshita, amadeshita, sama deshita, so sama deshita, o sama deshita, so sama deshita, I so sama deshita, chi so sama deshita, gochiso sama deshita. If you repeat that way, it makes it a lot faster. You can speak faster that way. Okay? Kanbenshite kure. Kanbenshite kure. Give me a break, man. You say this out of frustration when something is annoying you. You say, Kanbenshite kure yo. Give me a break, man. Give me some leeway here. Come on, cut me a break. Cut me some slack. Nah, more like give me a break when you're frustrated. Okay, not cut me some slack. Forget about that one. Okay, Konna koto wa yurusarenai. I cannot forgive this. This is unforgivable. Unforgivable. I can't speak English. Speak Japanese, but not English. Yurusarenai. Alone is enough. Yurusarenai. Unforgivable. I cannot forgive you. Usually in context, you know what that means, okay? Number seven, iroiro yaru koto ga aru. Iroiro yaru koto ga aru. I have many things I have to do. Please test yourself by going through the English and see if you can bring back the Japanese. Do it until you can do it, you know? Test yourself until you can do it. Today, for October 4th lesson, finally get to the lesson 3 minutes and a half in, I'd like to tell you my 5 favorite sama deshita expressions, or sama desu expressions. If you go over to Magi Sensei, you will. I'll cut it up so o tsukare. I'm going to break this up so it's a little bit easier to pronounce. If you go over to Magi Sensei, I will I'll put it in the description. I will link you to a lesson that she does all about the sama des and sama and how to use sama politely. Now you probably know that sama alone, which is this kanji here. Let me focus this up. Brief point right here. This kanji here, sama, is used at the end of a word. Actually has a couple meanings, but it's used at the end of a word to just a minute. End of a name. It's like Mr. So bikta sama would be very polite to say. Your Honorable Victor. It's more than san is more like Mr. Like Mr. Whatever your name. Mr. Smith would be Smith-san, and Honorable Smith would be Smith-sama. Now, it's a little bit more polite. It's very common. It also means something like yo. It's also pronounced yo sometimes. It means like something. Anyway, in today's lesson, we have 5 set phrases And unlike English, in Japan, we have these cliche or set phrases that are used in certain situations that, while we might think of these as cliche, why are you saying the same thing? You say this every single time in this situation. In English, I tend to think that we're more creative and we want to be different every time. But in Japan, it's actually more accepted, more common, more respected to use the proper expression in the proper situation. So I'm going to explain those 5 situations. The first one is when after you eat, after you work, and depending on what kind of worker you are, there's 2 for that. After you give someone food, and then when someone dies. So those are the 5 situations. Okay. The first one you probably know, Gochisou sama desu. Gochisou sama desu, which you say when someone has served you food or has paid for your food. So if someone treated you to coffee or I don't know, pizza or cake or anything they give you, even a beer, you would say Gochisou sama, Gochisou sama, Gochisou sama desu. The des ending is a little bit more polite, but you will hear people just say Gochisou sama. That's enough too. A little more casual, right? You can also use the past tense like Gochisou sama deshita. So if something happened before, if you're already in the future and that happened, whatever happened in the past, you would like to refer to that, just use deshita. And just to make sure that those of you who do not know, the past tense of des is deshita. And I'll put this in a hiragana as well, for those of you who are into that. It is useful to just know hiragana, of course. I highly recommend it. Just a minute. Deshita. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. So you can use present tense des or past tense deshita. Either way is fine. Let's go to number 2. Now, number 2 and number 3 are very similar. They both mean thank you for your hard work. The first, I like to think of, this is probably a little elitist, but I like to think of the first one as being the white collar job and the second one being the blue collar job. Basically, if you work in an office or you work with people who are your level or higher, you would say otsukare sama desu. Otsukare sama. I would say otsukare sama, otsukare sama, otsukare sama desu. So before you, when someone finishes up, like another teacher will finish a class, I would say otsukare sama. Or anyway, at the end of the day, you say otsukare sama, otsukare sama. So that's basically thanks for your work, and it's a set phrase you say at the end of a day. Now, if you were to order pizza, and the delivery man would bring you the pizza, you would say go kurou sama desu. And the interesting thing about the first 3 is that you can actually, some of you might be thinking sama and san, right? We talked about that before, right? Bikta sama, bikta san. Well, you can actually end all of these with san as well. So you could say gocho-san or otsukare-san or gokuro-san. So all of those are just a little bit more casual and completely acceptable, but more casual, okay? So generally speaking, people who are lower than you or have more of a, like a delivery service type of a job, like, I don't know, a gardener or something, or someone who just did a little work for you, something small, you'd say gokuro-sama or gokuro-san or gokuro-sama desu. Gokuro-sama desu, gokuro-sama, gokuro-san. The next 2, a little bit more complicated. You may not have heard of these. I don't use the next one because I don't feed people very often, but if you were to make dinner or prepare something for someone, and you'd like to apologize for your poor fare, you would say osomatsu sama desu. Osomatsu sama desu. And that's basically saying sorry for the rough stuff. This is kind of, this is not great stuff I'm giving you, but I hope you enjoy it. And the last one, which I really, so remember, when you feed someone or give someone food, not when you pay for something, okay, when you actually make something. The last one, Gochisou sama desu. If I look at it, Gochisou sama desu, and that's a difficult one, and that means my condolences when someone has died. You can use this as a joke expression. For example, when Brad Pitt got married many, many years ago, I used this with my students, and the ones who had crushes on him. Gochisou sama desu. Or if my student's favorite baseball team is lost, I would say Gochisou sama desu or Gochisou sama. That's a tough one, but it's a fun one to learn, and it's my condolences. And you have to know that it's one of those that you don't want to look up if you hear suddenly someone has died. it's kind of awkward to look it up. So it's one of those you want to kind of lock in for the I hope I don't have to use it kind of situation. Anyway, those are your expressions for today. That's your lesson for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Video. That's Japanese. And 皆さん頑張ってください. I'll see you then. Let's turn this off. Peace out.